I'm Rebekah Kim, and this is the GLBT Historical Society here in San Francisco. It's sort of a requirement of an archivist. I think you have to be able to lift 45 pounds. This is one of the boxes of Jose Sarria's coronation gowns.
So who was Jose Sarria?
Jose Sarria was a performer at the Black Cat, drag performer at the Black Cat, and then also runs for office, and starts the imperial court.
Wow! And so this is one of the
gowns. They can be pretty elaborate. And they're tiny.
And so this is clearly old school drag. I mean, it's very elegant. He's got these beads and stuff like that. I mean, elegant with sort of a touch of rhinestone. Whereas like today's drag is a little more cheeky and campy and outrageous.
I know. There's like, I don't know if this is the box. There's a box with a dress that has a bustle, which I had no idea when I had to put it on a mannequin, and I had no idea how that worked or any of that business. So, yes, it is definitely old school.
Totally. So what kind of materials does the Historical Society archives contain?
It has a range of materials from large artifacts to people's personal papers to periodicals, ephemera, so bar napkins, matches, things of that. It sort of runs the gamut. Willie Walker is one of the founders of the organization, and he started the Historical Society in 1985 out of his own house, and he was a nurse at SF General on the AIDS ward, and he saw people dying, and he realized there needed to be a place for their papers and for their history and legacy to be stored and kept.
What are some of the ways that people use the archives?
Well, there's all sorts of ways. I mean, the most traditional is historical research, but there also have been artists that have come in and done some collaborative projects. We also have an artist in residence, E.G. Crichton, who matches people to collections, and they create some sort of artistic response. It can be a spoken word performance or a film or art pieces. One of the people that E.G.'s matched is Tina Takamoto, and she was matched to the Jiro Onuma collection, which is this man who moved to San Francisco in the early 20s, and he was in the internment camps. And so she's created art pieces based on what he might have had in the internment camps, like playing cards. But she's also done now is doing a spoken word performance about her connection to Jiro. Because she does feel like he's one of her forefathers in a sense. So, yeah.
That's cool. Well, let's look at some of the materials, and here we can stroll around.
This so we have a lot of scrapbooks here, and a lot of them tend to be found scrapbooks. So this is just a sort of sample of what one of them. This is the Ralph Green collection, and it was founded by some people at an antique vintage store. And then they found more scrapbooks belonging to Ralph at the Alameda Flea Market, and they were able to sort of put this entire collection together. So, yeah. So it's sort of meticulously labeled. He writes people's names and the dates.
There's some sailors in here.
Sailors, right. It's pretty clear that he is a gay man. But it's also intriguing because it's such a mystery. We don't know very much about Ralph Green, other than maybe when he was born and when he died, and that he was in the military. But any other details of his life is sort of lost.
So I guess that kind of allows room for people to come in and speculate or create stories based on his life, maybe.
Yeah. The archives in general has a sad touch to it, because usually things come to us when people die. But in this case, it's a little sad that his materials were sort of dispersed in either vintage stores or a flea market, that there wasn't someone who found a home for it or kept it together. It's unclear what happened when he died and if there was someone that, cared.
Yeah.
So that part is sad.
Yeah. Deep into the archives.
Yes.
We go.
Sort of dark in here. So this is from the Elsa Gidlow collection, and she is an out lesbian in the 1920s, and she's a poet and an artist. And she, because she was out so early, she has sort of, it's an interesting circle of friends. One of the people that she corresponds with is Radcliffe Hall, who wrote, who wrote The Well of Loneliness. So,
one of the earliest sort of definitively lesbian novels, huh?
Yes, yeah. Right. And I think she's, in these letters, she's talking about, I think, the obscenity trials that she's being tried for, so it's actually really difficult to read her handwriting. But, I mean, the other people that she corresponds with are, I think, other local artists, and then, you know, her family. So, but this collection is interesting because it's wide breadth in time. It's pretty much dates from the 20s to the mid-80s, so so it's you know, it documents a unique part of history. There's not a lot of stuff that we have before the 50s, so
wow, that's a cool
collection. We have some large objects here in the back, and one of them is the Harvey Milk barber chair that was in the Castro camera shop. And people have said that his dog liked to nap there. And then this is the dining table that he had in his kitchen in his apartment above the camera store. Okay,
and Harvey Milk, of course, being the gay rights activist and city supervisor in San Francisco who was shot and killed.
Right, and the Milk movie, I mean, they did come and do some background research here, and they did, actually they were really meticulous, and they did take paint palette or paint chips to match the tabletop, which I found sort of amazing that they would pay attention to that detail, and I also was able to sort of execute that really clearly.
Yeah, and notice that this is actually the original design of the table, because it looks just like splotches basically on the table.
Right. One of my favorite items to pull is the Robert Chesley hair clipping collection. And Robert Chesley is a playwright, but he also has these collections of pubic hair in spice jars. And they, from what we can tell, they were displayed in his dining room on a spice rack. Yeah. And then they also traveled to dungeons, and we've seen photos of them in the background. So they used to.
And when you say dungeons, you mean sex dungeons?
Yeah, sex dungeons.
Yeah. This has really got to be the most unusual object I think I've seen in a while.
And it's also a mystery. Why was Ed crossed out and Bill written in?
Like maybe Ed got... I don't love an Ed anymore.
That's right.
Bill's pubic hair is going to go in here. Has anybody used this collection of pubic hair?
There have been some talk about maybe somebody exhibiting it, or somebody was trying to make jewelry pieces based on it, but so far nothing.
Yeah. But I guess, as you say, this is the kind of thing you might find in your gay or uncle's attic.
Yes, definitely.
His pubic hair collection.
Yes, definitely. And just quirky enough for the Historical Society, so...